Thanks for joining us for another Addicted Fishing tutorial. If you're new to our channel, all you're gonna find on our channel is how-tos about how to fish, entertaining fishing content. We actually do a lot of stuff where we travel around the country and fish all over the world. So make sure you guys tap that subscribe button if you love fishing. Today, we're gonna be talking about what you put behind 360 flashers.
Yes, there's a ton of different things you can use behind these 360s, from the original Superbait to the Brad's cut plugs, to the mini cut plugs, to our short bust spinners. There's a ton of different ways to rig it, bumper or leader links, colors, things like that. So
that's exactly what we're gonna be covering right now. All right, Eric, so let's dive right in. Before we do, please introduce yourself for all the people out there that might not know who you are.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Eric Swanson with Eric Swanson Outdoors. I'm one of the Addicted Fishing Guides. What we try and do is educate everybody, teach, and have a great time doing it. So if you guys want to get out on the water, do some great fishing, I'm Eric Swanson with Eric Swanson Outdoors. You can visit my website and get you out on the water. But that is who I am. And so let's talk about what we put behind the 360s.
Yes, so a couple different things that kind of is really popular what we do here. We're going to talk a little bit in depth about the different baits and the different spinners and all that we use. So diving right in, let's just talk about the old trusty that I think's probably a standby for a lot of people out there.
Good old
fishing.
Original Superbait.
Original Superbait. So talk a little bit about it, Eric.
All right, guys. So this is the original Brad Superbait. It's a clamshell style, apparatus, and we like to pack it with tuna. It has this open cavity here, and it comes stock with a scent pad, so you can add all sorts of procure gels, oils, combinations of everything. But I like to remove the scent pad and add bait. My preference is tuna and oil, and then I'll add different scents to the tuna to see what the fish like that certain day. But always take the scent pad out. That's what I do. Pack it with some sort of bait. You can chop up herring, anchovies, sand shrimp, whatever it is. It has an open cavity to add whatever you want to use.
And make sure you guys stay tuned to the end of this video, because we are going to be showing you how to kind of pack these super baits. So stick with us here. Don't leave. We're going to show that before this video is over.
Yes. And so, all right, guys. So these super baits come, in packaging in a couple different styles. In just a plain 2-pack where you can rig it yourself, or they come already pre-rigged. I like to buy the packs that are unpre-rigged so I can rig them myself.
Yeah, I found that they come rigged with a treble hook, don't they?
And I'm not a huge fan. I like to,
it seems like you lose a lot more fish on the treble hook, and nothing against Brad's for doing that, but we just like to rig them ourselves, and we're gonna kind of explain why we do it this way and kind of how we rig them this way, and then we'll also talk about the original. Just isn't the only one that these guys are fish out here. So
absolutely,
we're gonna cover all the different ones that you can use out here on the water.
Yes, you are. So guys, this is how I like to do it. I like to run 5 8mm beads, and the color I kind of color combo with a little chrome, a little pink, and what I like to do, guys, is run the original Superbaits with 2 3/0 mustad octopus hooks, just like that. And it seems like those 5 8mm beads place those hooks right perfectly where those fish come up and grab it.
Yeah, and that's the exact same way that I rig it.
Yes.
Same thing. I'll get super creative with the beads and try to use all different ones, because I just think it makes a difference. It probably doesn't, but I like to have fun with it.
I like to, I like to feel like, it does make a difference. So I run all sorts of different bead color combos, and that's the cool thing about this, guys, is you can rig it with any color you want.
And that's the really cool thing about it is, as we open up this box here, you can see that Brad's Killer Fishing Gear offers a huge variety.
Yes.
This is probably one of my favorite, the Seahawk.
Yep.
I have killed so many damn fish on that. And then obviously,
watermelon, and ladybug.
The ladybug is a freaking absolute killer.
Yes.
We'll line a few of these out and we'll show you a bunch of different colors with a sick B-roll shot right here. Okay guys, so before we dive into the other super baits that are offered, let's talk about a little bit about how you rig these. I know it's pretty simple, but let's show people out there just in case they don't know.
Absolutely. All right, guys, so like we talked about a little bit ago, I run 2 3/0 mustad octopus style hooks.
What's your spacing in between each hook?
About 2 fingers. Do about a 2-finger spacing. It seems to be about right. You don't have to be precise, but about 1.5 inches, 2 inches is what I like.
Cool.
And so I tied just 2 of them together there. 5 8mm beads just to space the hooks back behind the Superbait. Then what you want to do, guys, is run it through the belly here. And then I want to snip my tag end off here with the Gerber scissors.
Just so you got not a bent up tag end.
Right, because I want to catch. You run this right through that middle section, And the trick is to get your line to come to the eye and not catch on the lip. So it takes a couple tries to run it through there, just like that. So through the belly hole, through that, right out the end, and you slide it down on top of those beads. That seems to be a super effective way to rig these guys. Just like that.
Perfect.
Perfect, just like that. Then what I like to do, guys, is on the leader portion here, I like to run about a 36-inch leader of 40-pound P-line green. Seems to work really awesome. The moss green works really good in these water conditions.
Have you tried playing with that leader length at all?
I have, yeah. So I've tried anywhere from 20 to 50 inches, and it seems like anywhere from about 32 to 38 gives me the action on the super bait that I want, that seems to entice those fish.
Cool.
So definitely 36 is what I've kind of dialed in. And one thing I've noticed is if the pressure's really high, if there's 400 or 500 boats out here, everybody's using some similar style of this. I'll run a little bit longer leader, and it has less effect from that 360, and it will, you know, help entice those fish a little bit more, because everybody has the short leaders whipping around. So I'll extend it, give it a little bit less intrusive presentation.
I like it.
Yep, so that's what I like to do.
Okay, so now let's talk about what the other offerings that Brad's offers as far as
Absolutely.
these clamshell bait opener things.
Yes.
Basically just mimicking like an injured bait fish.
All it is mimicking something that's trying to get away from them.
Exactly.
So Brad's has the original cut plug super bait, which mimics a cut plug herring or a injured bait fish that's trying to get away from them. They also have the 3-inch version cut plug, right like that. And so
hand them to me and I'll lay them all out so people can see the different sizes
absolutely.
here.
So the original cut plug, the 3-inch cut plug, and what Brad's came out with a couple of years ago is what they call the kokanee cut plug. And what's really nice about these kokanee cut plugs is they're almost the size of a 3.5 spinner that we like to run, but you can add bait to it. So it's the best of both worlds. You get a small presentation, and you also can pack it with really stinky bait that really entices the fish. So the 3 different sizes here, guys, they're all the same style as far as clamshell. Fill it with what you want, but you have a selection of size depending on
what the fish are wanting.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they want a bigger bait, sometimes they want a smaller bait.
Absolutely, and some days I'll start out with all 3 of them, and if one size gets bit more, I'll just switch to that size. So some days the fish want something different, so Brad's gives us a big selection of sizes, colors, things like that to choose from to match what the fish are looking for that day.
That color right there, which I don't even know what it's called.
I think it's a custom.
You can buy these then.
Can you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, regardless, this is these are money. These purple ones are one of my favorite freaking ones that they make.
What I really like about what Brad's doing here too is they're adding the chrome and the glow to the backs of them and also the sides. So that definitely helps early morning, in the afternoon. You kind of get a different view down below the water as far as chrome and glow.
So now, I think a couple of these, yeah, this one actually has it too. So just like the original super baits, you're gonna take the rubber band off here, and then you're gonna pop this freaking thing open, and brand new out the package, they're gonna have this thing. So talk about that, Eric.
Yes, all right guys, so fresh out of the package, Brad's ships these with a foam scent pad. And what that's designed to do is lock in the scent. We like to run our ProCure gels and oils. And so if you don't want to use bait, you don't want to have stinky bait in the boat, you can add gel or oil to that and shut it, and then that piece of sponge in there soaks up the oil and allows it to disperse pretty evenly kind of throughout the day.
Yeah, and I've actually fished them just like that.
Absolutely.
I prefer tuna, but yeah, in a pinch, those work.
Absolutely. And so what I like to do is when I get these, I'm a big bait guy, I'll take the foam out. I'll always save a couple just in case I need to run it. But I'll actually pack this with tuna and oil, and then certain days I'll have my tuna. I'll have a couple different packages of tuna, and I'll add some different scents to it, and kind of play around with what the scent kind of want, what the fish kind of want for scent that day. So that's kind of how I like to do it.
Killer. So now with these, is it the same? Are you running? Would you run 5 beads on this cut plug or what?
So since this cut plug is a little bit shorter, I will run 4 8mm beads, and it helps place those hooks just right behind it. And what I'll do,
is it gonna go down with each size? Like, is it gonna go 4,
yes,
3? So
exactly.
Let's grab an original for me real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's kind of show these people, just because I get this question so much out there. It's like, right? So you're gonna go 5 beads on the original.
Yes.
4.
Yep. And then on the 3-point, I'll actually drop down to a 6mm bead like these here, and I kind of just downsize as I downsize in size, because what you don't want to do is have huge giant hooks and huge giant beads behind these smaller ones, because it will affect the way it spins and twists in the water.
So on the 2 smaller ones, you're going down to 6 mils. How many of those are you using?
I'll run 5 6s on these smaller ones, and that seems to put them on. Also,
on both of them?
Yes, and so with the original and the original cut plug, I'll run 3 or 4 aught hooks. For these, I'll run a 1 aught on the kokanee, and on the 3-inch, I'll run a 2 aught hook.
Basically, so you're just downsizing everything. So quickly, again,
Yes.
not quickly. Let's kind of break it down slow, just in case, so people can follow along if they want to go home and try to rig some of these themselves. On the original Superbait, you're going to run 5
8mm beads.
8mm beads to 2 3-aught
Mustad hooks, the octopus style. Yeah.
Perfect. And then on the original cut plug, what are you doing?
I'll run the 4 8mm beads, and as you can see here, guys, this is a little bit shorter here to here. So on the original cut plug, I'll run 4 8mm beads, helps position those hooks perfectly. And then once we kind of downsize to the 3-inch cut plug, then I'll downgrade to 6mm beads and still use 5 of them, and that way it puts your hooks perfectly back there. So you want to kind of, as you're downsizing, you want to be downsizing the hook size and the beads, so that way everything is still working properly.
Yeah, you want that thing to have that spin and be able to spin freely on the line and not have the weights or the beads or anything kind of weighing it down.
Yes, because you know, you have those bigger beads, the bigger hooks. These spin, they have a greater surface area, so they spin better with a little bit bigger beads, where these have a smaller surface area, so you have to downsize beads. You have to downsize the drag that the beads and the hooks are creating to still have the same action that you'd have out of the bigger ones.
So cool. So you guys, one more time, you got 5 beads, 4 beads, and then 5 beads, but you're downsizing to 6 mil, and you can use 5 beads on both the 3-inch and the kokanee.
Yes.
All right, Eric, so before we go and put some bait in this damn Superbait, let's talk about the other really popular thing that's kind of exploded onto the scene behind the Superbaits, and that's the 3.5 spinner.
Yes, and the 3.5 spinner, guys, is talking about the blade size is 3.5. So the really important thing in using a spinner behind a 360 flasher is using a small enough spinner to where it doesn't create so much drag and not cause the 360 to rotate. So you always want to make sure and use a small blade, either a 3, 3.5, or 4, and that allows your 360 to rotate correctly. If you have like a size 5, 6, 7, one of those big thumper blades, the spinner blade spinning causes so much resistance it won't allow your 360 to do a 360. It basically just causes it to just nosedive.
Too much drag on the blade.
Way too much drag. So
JT from Short Bus, he started making his own spinners a couple years to kind of pair with his flashers, and I was super excited about it just because I knew JT was going to come up with some amazing color combos with his flasher creativity. And so now he's making his own 3.5 spinners as well. All sorts of crazy colors you can choose from. Also, he's making blades if you guys want to tie your own spinners, and I know that's what you do a lot, right, Eric?
I love tie my own spinners. That way I can use different bead colors. Sometimes I'll run like pink and a green and like a black piece of tubing, or just something crazy that nobody else basically has. So you can buy it in the whole spinner already built, or you can buy the blade like I do and then create my own spinners.
Sick.
So,
and these things, some days, guys, what you're gonna want to do when you're out fishing, you know, talking about Superbaits and talking about spinners, is always just fish some of each. Like, don't ever go out there and have 4 rods all spinners or 4 rods all Superbaits, because dude, it's just they're always like neck and neck with each other.
They are always.
Yeah, so make sure you guys head over to Short Bus or head over to your local retailer, pick up some 3.5 spinners, and now let's bait this Superbait.
Yes, let's do it.
So the last piece of the puzzle, whether you're using the original or you're using the other ones that we just showed you, is gonna be bait. And like Eric said, we all really prefer bait. There's a few different reasons that Eric's gonna kind of go over why we prefer bait. But first, let's show these people how to pack these things.
Absolutely. So guys, the big key here is to not overpack your Superbait, because these are basically on a hinge system here, and if you overpack it, you know, throughout the days, you're gonna end up ruining that hinge. And also,
I've seen them crush it too. Like if a Chinook hits this too hard and you have it overpacked, it cracks the Superbait.
It does. And you know, these are kind of like plugs or flashers. When you catch a handful of fish on one, it kind of you want to keep fishing it. So yeah, you don't want to be breaking your Superbait. So another big thing here, guys, is they have holes on the side to allow the tuna or whatever bait you prefer to kind of leach out. So by overpacking it, you're cramming it in there, it's not able to leach out properly. So what I like to do is you want to pack it fairly tight, but not so much to where it's not allowing it to disperse. And what's really cool is when you're trolling these along and the little flakes of tuna are coming out and you get a fish behind it, I think those little flakes of tuna coming in their face helps helps attract them and helps them strike more. So real quick, guys, I'm going to show you how I do it.
Before you do that though, the great debate.
Yes.
Is it chicken of the sea? Is it bumblebee? Is it freaking Mexican food store tuna?
Yeah.
Like, what's the secret, dude?
The great debate. Everybody is like, oh, you got to use chicken of the sea or Star Kiss, or whatever. I don't think it really matters. I always use the Star Kiss.
Oh, dude, bumblebee for life.
Yeah,
dude.
see, here's the debate.
The debate, dude. It's bumblebee. The bumblebee oil tuna is just nasty. It's like all chunked up and super mushy.
Yeah, it's man, but it's like one of those things. You go buy a can of tuna, you catch a fish on it. Well, you're gonna go back and buy that same can of tuna tomorrow because you caught a fish on it today. So I always just started with the Star Kiss Chunk Light and oil and vegetable oil. Marlon likes the bumblebee, so
Eric likes to specifically look for the ones that don't say like dolphins are protected by this because he likes to have dolphins like chopped up.
Well, I like
it works better.
Part dolphin works pretty good. They're super oily like tuna.
But all right, dude, let's show them how to pack this.
So what I like to do, guys, is once you kind of get it out of the can, you'll kind of want to break it up a little bit, and that allows the chunks to kind of come out. You don't want to put big whopper chunks like that because it's not going to leach out the holes. So I like to kind of chunk it up a little bit, just like that. Start at the front, just kind of like that, and just slowly work your way back. No real special reasoning, but it's kind of like that. And you close it, and what I like to do is just kind of scrape off the sides, just like that. What you want to make sure is that the back is going to close. If you overpack it like this, if you overpack it and you can't close it, it means you have too much. So you can always add more to it. So you just want to make sure that the back of it shuts. And this is a perfectly packed super bait, and you can see how it's going to be able to leach out the sides. So remember, guys, pack it just enough, don't overpack it. And then once you have the right amount of bait in there, then we reapply our rubber band here so it stays shut, just like that. And this will sit in here for, I would say up to an hour, 45 minutes. I like to change it probably, every hour or so.
So one thing that I do, and one thing I've been doing the last few seasons, is I have actually a little bit bigger Tupperware container than this.
Right.
I put one can of tuna in there, and basically what I do is I'll have 10 to 12 baits rigged and ready that day.
Yep.
I pre-rig all of them. I put the tuna in all of the baits. I'll have them just sitting in my Tupperware container. I'll run them. As they start to leach out, I'll just start clipping out, and then I have people help just bait throughout the day. It's just a super efficient way. It keeps your bait kind of out there at all times and fresh.
Right, so tuna is super pungent and super stinky, but throughout the day it will lose its oily content. So it's always a good idea to keep it fresh, keep changing it, and it seems like the fish like it.
Absolutely.
So that's how it's done.
All right, guys, we're kind of wrapping up this video. If you guys got any other questions or things that you don't think we've covered, make sure you drop a comment below, and please give this video a thumbs up if you guys are liking what you're seeing here. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is, I see you don't have anything in your tuna, which is something that I do a ton with mine. Is I always try to make my own little concoctions.
Add your own little blends.
Yeah, so what do you do?
So what I like to do, guys, is for the most part, tuna in the oil catches me fish, but there are those certain days when the fishing is tough where I'll definitely add a little spurt of Procure, gel of anise, garlic, shrimp, the Addicted Salmon blend. Just add a little bit, something different.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Addicted Salmon blend was designed 100% for this fishery. So if you guys have not purchased Addicted Salmon blend, this isn't a sales pitch. This is straight up, it kills fish.
It does, absolutely.
So make sure you get to the store or go to our website. It doesn't matter. I don't care where you buy it, but grab yourself some Addicted Salmon blend and make sure you're putting it on your tuna or putting it in your tuna, because it will help increase your bites. I have seen it too many times now to think otherwise.
Absolutely.
Way too many times.
There are those days when there's 400 boats out in this area that we're fishing, and adding something different will make these fish want to bite.
Yep.
So by adding a little scent, couple drops, and closing your super bait, can help your your hookup ratio by quite a bit. So.
Another little secret that you guys can play with that I do a lot out here is ProCure makes a lot of different little chemicals that you can buy. So one thing you guys can test when you're out here kind of experimenting and you're noticing a guy like Eric next to you hooking 5 when you're only hooking 1, there's a chance that he's playing with some stuff that you might need to start experimenting with. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Make sure you get some of ProCure's chemicals and mess around with that, put in your tuna and stuff.
Do it. It can be a day changer. So just one thing to remember, guys, is these fish are days out of the salt water. Once they start entering this fresh water, they're purging themselves of salt. So guess what? They're craving it. So there's all these sorts of chemicals out there. We're not going to talk details because that's one of those things we acquire over the years.
Just try them. Try all the different ones. You're going to find ones that I promise will help your day out here, and you'll catch more fish if you're playing around with that kind of stuff.
Sure,
so.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, addicts, for tuning into this addicted fishing tutorial. Eric, I know you got some trips coming up in the fall. You got anything open?
I do, guys. So I have a few days left open in September for targeting these Chinook up here with the 360. So if you guys want to get out and fish with me, my name's Eric Swanson with Eric Swanson Outdoors. You can visit my website, ericswansonoutdoors.com. Fill out the little book a trip tab. It sends it straight to my email account. I'll give you a call. We'll set up a day. So if you want to come out, learn how to use these, I'm more than happy to teach you guys as we're fishing them. So if you guys want to get on the water, look me up. My number is 503-396-7204. Get a hold of me for a great day on the water.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate you helping us make these videos,
Absolutely.
Eric's one of our addicted guides. He's making content so you guys can get out there and hopefully catch fish yourself. But if you just want to get out and catch some salmon or bonk some salmon, give Eric a call. We'll put a link in the description below. We'll see you guys on the river.
See you guys on the water.